Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer Rose Janice, and welcome to Jennifer's Autistic Life. Today I'm going to talk about one of my biggest passions in life, acting. When I was 6 years old, fresh out of kindergarten, while I was on a shopping trip with my mom, I decided, well, it would be a great time to think about what I wanted to be when I grew up. And so I thought about that. And when my mom and I got home from our shopping trip, I distinctly remember going into my room and jumping up and down on my bed, shouting, "I'm going to be an actress! I'm going to be an actress!" I was so happy. And I've always enjoyed watching TV with my mom since I was a baby. And here I was in the first grade, and I was always thinking about how cool it would be to have my own show and be a star someday. So, flash forward to second and third grade. I was in a combined second and third grade special education class, and we did class plays. They were just that, class plays that were performed in class. One of the differences was they were filmed in front of a camera. The teacher had this big camcorder on a tripod, and it was the late 80s, and there were no scripts of plays. We did 3 plays: Rumpelstiltskin, Sleeping Beauty, and Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs. In Rumpelstiltskin, I played the poor miller's daughter who was forced to spin straw into gold. Now I remember that was probably my first dramatic role. It was hilarious. I was begging that little man to please not take my firstborn child. And then in Sleeping Beauty, I played the wicked stepmother, and that was fun. And in Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs, I played one of the dwarves. I'm not sure which one, but I'm assuming Grumpy. I don't know why. Anyway, it was really fun. I remember the teacher would just feed you lines. Like I said, there were no scripts, so the teacher would direct, and she would feed you the lines. You would say them, and then you would act. So that was fun. I enjoyed that. But the thing I didn't like was when we played the tapes back of our performances in the plays. I did not like how I looked and how I sounded on film. I mean, I thought it was horrible, and I thought, in the late 80s, the video and all audio quality of videotapes and everything was horrible back then. Not as amazing as it is now. So that was that. Anyway, unfortunately, I wasn't able to take any drama classes in middle and high school, but in college I became a film and theater major, and I got certificates in acting, film, and in children's theater. And children's theater is a lot of fun. I took a semester of children's theater, or being a part of a children's theater group as a touring children's theater group in college, and one of the plays at that time was Sleeping Beauty. So in college, when I was in that play, I played one of the fairies called Fairy Lily. Here I am with the cast. I'm in the middle in the pink. I'm rocking the pink wig. I always thought it was beautiful. Just with the flowers, and then here, excuse the glare here, just taken before a public performance in the park. I think it was on Cinco de Mayo. Talk more about that later. Anyway, I mean, I loved it, and it was my first time being a part of an ensemble, and being in a larger cast and everything. and I learned a lot. Learning it's really important to show up on time and everything, and have the energy and the passion. But it's not only that. I mean, I've learned to improv and to adapt and see what works and doesn't work for the play, and to adapt with whatever performance space that you're in. And during children's theater, when we did that, we toured local schools, and we did a show at a children's hospital. We did a few shows in a children's amusement park. We did a show at a park also on Cinco de Mayo. We also were in a play before then. I'll talk even more about that later. Anyway, it was really fun. And being on the spectrum, being autistic, it's really, I find being in a group of people, being around people is just so overwhelming, certain situations. With this, it's like there's not as much stress, because you work with people in theater, you know, you have scripts, you know what to say, you have blocking and your stage business, all that written down, so you know what to do, and it takes a lot less of the stress. And then you have a shared interest to put on the best performance you can and have fun while doing that. And I feel, you know, that's another awesome way to be creative, and you begin to feel comfortable with being on stage. And I like being on stage and being in front of the camera and everything. It's kind of feels like home, you know. It feels comfortable. Certainly before a performance, you get this nervous excitement, if that's even a feeling. Then you go on and you ace it, you know. So talking about what I was going to say before, this is hilarious about having to adapt to a performance space. Anyway, on Cinco de Mayo, our whole cast was in an area, in a town where it's known for its chickens. We were going to perform in a park after the Cinco de Mayo parade. Perform in a park, in an outdoor amphitheater. Yeah, at this park, where it's known for the area known for its chickens. And this area is also had a few years ago had an article in People magazine. And the director told us that we had to project our voices so the audience in the back row can hear what we were saying, hear us over the chickens. Now I know you simply cannot tell a chicken to shut up, because they're so cocky and they think they rule the roost. Well, that's all I have to say. Goodbye, and thanks for watching Jennifer's Autistic Life.